my concern is putting something there in that neighborhood, because I'm not gonna wanna go somewhere, a grocery store or whatever may go right there with all that goes on directly across the street from there. So how do we either one, change the mindset, or is the city even looking to turn that housing project in like they've already done the other?
Right. Right now, there is no plan for the city, correct? There's no plan.
Yeah, so I'm gonna bring you to my next conversation with the city. So when we first started, we told them exactly that. We said, like, take New Loop, right? There'd be no New Loop if they hadn't, right, taken care of Shepherd Square and the others, right? There'd be no New Loop. So I said,
Or Duo.
What's that?
For Duo.
Yeah, they did the exact same. So because actually, I don't know how many of you all were at the meeting at the community center. This is January of 2020, where they came. Were you there? They came and they said, "What do you want?" They just jumped right into it, right? And everyone kept going, "Well, you got to do something with this, right? You can't just leave this, right?" And so when we sat down with the city for the very first time, we said, "So what's going to happen over here? Because you can't just leave this and think everything, right?" We said they deserve a lot better than, because we spent a lot of time with Janior, and so here's what I'm gonna say. We have made it clear to who we presume probably is going to end up being the next mayor, right? We brought him down here 8 months ago. We drove him around. He spent some time with Kingdom Land, and not Kingdom Land, he spent some time with President James, I think in Kingdom Land, handing out toys, yeah. And we said, you can't just act like this is just, right? Something's got to happen.
Are you on my
Right? Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so, listen, I don't have necessarily any more power to just make that. I don't work in city government, but we've made it clear to them. And this is the other piece. This is where the power happens and starts, because it's a little different, right? It's a little different than just saying, "Hey, we're gonna push that," and we can invite him. We can invite him to the meetings, right?
No, we don't need him here yet.
No, but my point is that, I'm with you, but my point is that you're 100% right. It won't make any sense, and won't do the things, like you said, where you're going to be comfortable doing this thing. So we understand we don't run Metro Housing. We've made it clear. They know we put a lot of pressure on them, and what I am prayerful of is that as we get new folks in, who we have brought down here and said, "Look here," right? And I will tell you, Keisha, Dorsey is much closer with them and been on them pretty hard. I'm prayerful that it will start to change it, but I think it starts with this group. I'm going to be honest with you, right? I really believe that it's going to start with this group in here and projecting that voice. I really do. But I 100% agree with you. 100%. Yep. Got to. Great question. Statement.
It has to go.
Yeah.
No way out of it.
Real quick question for you. You guys done this before, right? So this is the first time y'all ever kind of did this kind of approach?
So there are people on our team who have not done anything of this size, but who are in the space of whether it's design, development, community development, those things, HUD specialists, right? We have all of that, but we saw that nothing's happening. So what we try to do is create an organization that will manage and drive transformation through people who live there versus just being a bunch of people to come up and show you pretty pictures.
I have another question for you. Is this space gonna be like Black-owned businesses only? Or is anybody able to come in there and put their business?
This is why we're doing this.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
This is why we're doing this, right?
So that would be a long-term win, right? That we would put down. We would put down, this is going to be a space for Black-owned businesses. And if you want to say only, Black-owned businesses only, a place for really thinking about how do we give back to the community that has been leached from for generations and decades. And so if those are long-term saying have your voice. Okay?
And the only thing I'll add is the framework for the work that we want to do, and that gentleman back there in the mask set the tone for this. He said, culturally rich, socially just, live, work, play, destination. That's the framework, right? Culturally rich, socially just, live, work, play, destination. Okay? That's the framework. That's it. Okay?
Can I make a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
I have been praying for something like this because I am a family resource coordinator at McFerrin. So I'm constantly working with the community, doing something, bringing them in and things of that nature. But I also do stuff like home visits. And I have to walk through Park Hill. And I walk by that empty lot. And one of the things that me and one of my colleagues were talking about, I said, hey, I thought they were doing something, but then that land is, we know that. But one of the things that I hear all the time is equity. JCPS is racial equity this and cultural this and things of that nature. But we speak it, but I don't know how much we, like she said, that action is. And so one of the things as a coordinator, I'm grateful for being able to have this opportunity to be on this platform. But most of all, I also think trauma. And trauma is real. And when I see, and they carry it over into the building.
Right.
So a lot of the educational things that the big people that are making these educational decisions, they're saying trauma, they're using the words trauma, but when it comes to being able to live through it every single day, I have a 28-year-old that went to McFerrin, I have a 22-year-old that went to McFerrin, and I have a 14-year-old that has gone through McFerrin. And I work in McFerrin, been there a long time. So I have seen change, a lot of change. And one of the things that I will, really speak to is the trauma that our kids are exposed to every single day. I'm talking the language that we're hearing coming out of the mouths of our babies and things of that nature. So I'm really hopeful that whatever is put in that place, that it will, I think I heard somewhat revive the community to a point where, the minds are changed and lives are changed in that moment of seeing something new and beautiful and being able to say that this is my community. And I only work in the community, but I've done it for a long time. And when I have to walk through Park Hill, I know different parts of Park Hill, and I walk out, and we say Park Hill is in our backyard of our school. But when I deal with kids I'm talking white and black, Hispanic, they all live back there. They all live back there. And so they come with different stories. They do. They have different stories that they tell. Just hearing that students, drop to the ground when they hear a gunshot and things of that nature. They don't like laying on the bed because that's too close to the window. These are real life stories that I have to hear every single day. And parents are afraid to send their kids, so now we're dealing with truancy. And I'm having to go to homes and call parents and to hear people say that I don't want to send my child walking through Park Hill because there was just a shooting. There might have been just a shooting the night before. How do I say, well, just send them anyway? No, that's, so then we come up with a different plan of how, can they, partner with another family that's walking.
They take that initiative. They'll walk through and
we walk through there.
students and everything.
I'm trying to tell you, we do the best that we can do. We can't talk about it. We got to be about it. And so, like I said, I'm grateful for the opportunity and hope that even McFerrin can see a change. Because the change on the outside is going to be the change on the inside.
That's right.
Educationally as well as just their well-being. So that's my soapbox.
Oh, thank you. You're right.
shortly after my father and my sister, they passed like 10 hours apart. And I say it to say that I came here strictly to advocate for the youth. I'm a convicted felon from that neighborhood. So like a lot of these kids that I deal with, I grew up with their parents. So yeah, they seeing a lot of things right now, from guns to drugs to just the gang life that we all grew up and was supposed to denounce from as we got older. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them guys I grew up with, I grew up with Erica too. A lot of them are still up there. A lot of them don't understand. I don't got the courage to step away from that. So what I'm dealing with right now is like, I got a football organization that's probably the only free organization in the whole city. Now, we was based and started up Park Hill because I played for this team, but also because I was one of the young kids up Park Hill, and we used to all meet at the basketball court and get picked up by different teams. So when I had a chance to actually try to do it, I said, I want to go back home. Now, we had the Blue Ball organization this past summer because we had an incident where a neighborhood kid that ain't involved with our organization, they see us every day, but actually ran onto our field with a real life looking BB gun and put it up to my son's head. My son's 11 years old. So, I mean, we had to move overnight. But in doing that, like right now, I get out and fundraise with my kids. A lot of people call it bucket shake. This is how I make sure that my program is free. This is how I make sure that ain't none of my kids ever in the streets doing this. But this is how I keep them off the streets. Because if they not with Coach Zig, I already know where they're going at. Why? Because I can tell them, look, I done been in every building, 1 through 58. So it ain't nothing y'all can tell me. But also, they say, oh, well, when you try to help kids and get an organization together, go ask for help. Like you said, David James knows Coach Zig by name. The first time I met that man, and I said, I want to start an organization, I want to go youth football in Park Hill. He didn't ask me how could he help. He said, why Park Hill? I said, why not? That's my home. Like, this is all I know. You might not feel safe, but I can walk through her and feel safe. Right. Now, I don't expect everybody to understand that, but I also don't want to forget these people. That's right. That's right. So it's a whole crowd. There's kids up there. I'm fighting for them right now. I don't even got enough for a team right now. I only got one coach, me. So I'm the fundraising guy. I'm the coach. I'm the guy that pop up the schools. That's me. I show up to your house. I walk through where the basements is at, y'all scared, I'm going to walk through her. I got a kid at my house right now, football player. Looked at me and said, Coach, I don't want to go home. But you know what? We're going to call mama, and I'm going to keep you as long as I can, you know, because they're 11 years old. They eat me out of the house and the home. But I can't send him back because I know what's waiting for him. So I get up every single day. And in addition to owning the Louisville Steelers, we own a t-shirt customizer company. Every day I get up, it's dedicated to trying to make sure that these kids don't go down the path that I go to, but I come to this because I talk to Bruce a lot. And I say, look, man, I'm looking for solutions. Yeah. I done talked to every councilman on either side of the aisle, Republican, Democrat, they all give me the same thing. We've already fulfilled our charitable obligation for the year. I done heard this so much, y'all. I was screaming. I'm like, I done heard this so much. What do y'all want me to do? Y'all asked me to go get paperwork that says this is a legal organization. Then when I go get it, still nobody helps. And then everybody says, oh, well, these kids is out here wild. Well, y'all not helping the ones that's out here busting their butt that really try to help them. I don't want to be out there in the street with my kids with buckets, but what else do I do? I can go and ask the guys I grew up with that I know still out here hustling, but what is that teaching my kids? That ain't teaching my kids nothing. No, I speak to them guys and we keep it moving. So they know the Louisville Steelers is not the richest team, but like Mr. Bruce said, my boots been on the ground ever since I caught a felony in that neighborhood. I go back to the neighborhood every day, but I look at it like this, being a former guy that used to be into all the games and all that stuff. As hard as I used to go to represent a block in a neighborhood that we had no type of investment in outside of our mama's paying rent, I'm going to go just as hard to try to make sure that we can turn around and make people come back and say, hey man, that's a high neighborhood. Because I was a part of the problem. But I'm a minority in that because everybody who grew up with me don't feel like me. So what's happening now, this is how I feel personally. I'm feeling blackballed. I'm not getting help from around here. I'm not getting help from the council people, and I can't go to the people that I used to run with for help. So what do I do? I mean, I don't know, 'cause I'm not gonna miss one of these meetings. Cause I'm like this lady right here too. I believe that needs to be gone. But none of us got the money to make it happen overnight.
Well, they can get rid of it, which is what they originally
But it's
started
about money,
doing.
they ain't gonna get.
I think there's something else going on. I haven't quite found out why they haven't tore Park Hill down, because they tore every last, from Southwick all the way down to Shepherd Square.
And
They tore
ignored-
all of
And
them.
ignored the crime, and ignored the crime that came with it.
Right?
Well, I thought Shepherd Square was the original.
That's what they
Right.
said at first, remember? Until you came.
But
And
they
then
tore
they
all,
said, this is the
Who
first.
said earthquakes was first?
Earthquake first,
Earth-
and their
earthquake
soil
is
too, the
gone.
same problem with this soil was the same problem they had with
I'm
earthquake
saying,
soil.
but,
They were the first one and they still haven't rebuilt over there.
but all it feels like they're doing is recycling housing projects. I turned down one housing project, she got told everybody left in the neighborhood and said, here, y'all been hating each other all these years, now get along. Then they go do it in another neighborhood, and ain't nobody saying nothing about, this is why crime went up.
Well, they know that that's why crime went up on the dispersed out. They know why. There was this called gentrification. They did that intentionally. But the problem with the way that the housing units are ran, like psychologically, when you stack them on top of each other, you do something to their psychological mind. So that's why you get in, even with the new apartments they're building, they're not no good either. If you look at them,